if I told you that all of the continents are actually connected and you can get to Africa through the Grand Canyon?
Who says you can't walk to Africa from America?
Where are you from?
India.
India? What, you too?
Yeah.
How long have you been walking?
All day.
Did you fly into Mexico and then walk the rest?
Walk.
But where did you fly into?
Walking.
How do you walk from India? Are you from India too?
Pakistan.
Oh, Pakistan. Bangladesh. Okay. Walk from India?
India, Punjab.
India?
Just to make sure you're on the same page, they walk from Iran, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, into Mexico, and into America. Oh, it's about to get better. So go on ahead and like this video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And leave me a comment to let me know what you think.
The Grand Canyons is the gateway.
Discovery that will blow your mind.
Now, how many times have you taken a trip across the pond, as they call it? And it was like a 9+ hour flight. And sometimes it came with a layover. You see this? I'm about to show you the real deal. Take a look. I want you to see how close North and South America actually are to one another. North America and Asia. Asia and Europe. Europe and Australia. Asia and Africa. Asia and Europe. Russia and the US. If either of them try to bomb the other, all of us will go. We're too close together. That's good news. Drum rolls, please. The famous Bering Strait that the people who became the Native Americans crossed from their homeland of Siberia and Mongolia to come into the United States to become the natives of America. As you can clearly see, it does not really look like this. It looks more like this. Please tell me I'm not the only one that can see the writing on the wall, that it doesn't take a 10-hour flight. And layovers are not even necessary to go across the pond in either direction. So what does that tell you? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. As always, they suppress my content.
They never wanted you to become God because they fear what you could become in your full power. Hidden in Kabbalah, there is a map, a path from the body to God, from ego to I am. The Kabbalah is a map, not of the universe, but of your own consciousness. The tree of life is not outside of you. It is you. Each level, each Sephirot, is a state of awareness. From the densest level, where you identify with the body, the ego, to the highest point, Keter, the crown, union with the source. What religion called God is the final realization of what you are. Here's where everything was inverted. Lucifer was never the enemy. It means the light, bringer, the one who reveals. But the system turned light into fear, because if you fear it, you'll never access it. If you fear your own divinity, you remain controllable. The tree they drew, the Kabbalah, isn't a myth, it's a guide. As you ascend, you don't just gain knowledge, you are tested. Each Sephira is a gate. Truth is only revealed to those prepared to receive it. To the profane, it will always look dangerous, forbidden, even evil. Not because it is, but because they cannot see. The profane reject what they don't understand. The initiated recognize what they remember. So the question is, do you have eyes to see? Do you have ears to hear? And if you do, comment code or access the link in bio and step into the next level of consciousness.
The Latin alphabet we use comes from the Greek, which comes from the Phoenician, and if you wrap it around a circle, turn each letter 90 degrees, and combine them into two-letter pairs, you see that our alphabet comes from the stars. Note, however, that these three signs are reversed. These are individually mirrored. Cancer has a basket on its head, and Aquarius is missing. The letter reversals are due to the sun's analemma still present in the alphabet, and that's the figure 8 pattern that the sun draws on the sky each year, and the direction the sun is moving through each sign causes the letter reversals. Untie the alphabet on the 7th of 22 letters. The basket on Cancer's head marks the summer solstice. Aquarius is silent because the early peoples believed his waters to be the underlying fabric upon which all the other signs lived and moved and had their being. And we can answer more questions if we look into the pictographic meanings of each letter, or if we stack the alphabet on a 7-layer cake.
Christians can't bear any of this stuff. They can't hear any of this stuff. They can't hear about the astrological, astrology. They get freaked out. Oh, don't talk to me about that. And yet, in Genesis 1, the very first page, it says, God says, let the stars be for signs. Well, if the stars are for signs, shouldn't you figure out what they mean?
When they launch this fake alien invasion, everybody gonna swear it's real. You know why? Because people don't know that the sky is CGI technology. I've been telling y'all this. That's not your real sky. See the sky behind me? That same sky up there. That motherfucker is not real. Alright? It's not real. I've been telling y'all that for a reason, because it's being controlled. It's 5 layers to it. It's CGI technology. They showed you this shit in that movie Kong when he threw the motherfucking spear at the motherfucking sun, nigga. Right? They showed it right to you, but before they showed it to you in Kong, for those of you who've been listening to me at university, y'all know from day one I've been telling y'all this. So if people not know that CGI technology, once they get the change in the frequency of the sky, and they get the altering the layers of the sky to make it look like it's a war going on right there, that's not. Alright? They make it seem like it's these huge spaceships that's in the sky, that's not. And then they're gonna actually use actual spaceships that they do have from other extraterrestrial species, like these insectoids and these greys and these other ones that they got, they're in cahoots with.
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
They gonna make this shit look real, y'all. Listen, this gonna be the biggest movie. Listen, this gonna be the biggest movie they never put out, nigga. This gonna be the biggest movie they ever put out. I'm saying movie for a reason, because shit ain't real, but it's gonna look real. Listen, you ain't better tell people that we ain't under a UFO invasion. I'm telling y'all in advance. Listen, man, holographic imagery is real, man. You gonna see motherfucking aliens running down the street, all that. Be prepared for it. I told you here first.
Guys, check it out. So, I have found that when I do super long exposures on any bright, really, really bright star or planet, it reveals this grid pattern. So I think what's happening is this scope is so powerful, and it's got such a fast focal ratio that when I do these long exposures on these really bright stars, it reveals some sort of a grid pattern. I know you guys have saw Hunger Games, and when she shot the arrow and hit the dome, it revealed a similar pattern. Same thing in the movie King Kong. Guys, they put the truth in plain sight, knowing that most people will never see it. Look at this grid-like pattern.
So I had to hop on this trend when I saw people adjusting the settings in their cameras, and they started seeing all these crazy things in the sky. I had to cut out the first half of this video because it was way too long, but you guys, this is crazy. What is actually going on? I keep zooming in and out because I'm just in total shock and disbelief. And then I'm looking at this tree and I'm like, okay, so the tree doesn't have it. It's like real things don't have it. But it's all over the sky. I don't know why I'm whispering. This is so crazy. And then at the end, there's like this giant T in the sky. What the fuck?
Let's talk about how the old world order is the new world order. So the Great Flood is what we call the first reset, and Babel Tower is the second reset. Babel Tower was in America, specifically Canada. As you can see the Babylonian region here. Babylonians spoke Akkadian. Acadia stretched from the northeast to Louisiana, where we get Cajun from, Acadian. Nimrod was the world leader during the time of Babel. He was a Hamitic leader in a Shemitic culture because Babylon was mixed. The people of Nimrod were Nebros, the basis of the word Nebraska. The Midwest is mostly Hamitic, Mitzrayim, Mississippi, etc. In Jasher, Esau kills Nimrod and usurps his power over the Anima, over humanity. This process exhausts Esau and causes him to sell his birthright. Esau then forms a confederacy and attempts to forcefully take back his birthright. It was the Yoruba or Oyo Empire. Europa is Yoruba. Look, Rome is Edom. Edom bred with Canaanite women and then Chittim to make Rome. And the Phoenicians are a Canaanite arm of this confederacy. Arab means mix. A mixed branch of this coalition. And the original Arabs are a mix of Edom and Ishmael. Arabs today are Muwalads at best, the origin for the word mulatto. And Mecca is Baka. Baka is synonymous with Edom and his mom, Rebekah. And there's obviously an Aruba, Yoruba, Arab connection. Edom took over the Babylonian holdings worldwide, and we see the Nigerian connection between Edom and Eri of Edu. Edu or Idume is Edom. And Nigerians are some of the original Iranians and Indians. Nigaristani. Look. The Maurya or Maurya. Scottish Freemaurers. Look. And this is where the Moors come into the fold. Here's the Moabite-Esau connection. Many Moors are Moabites. And there's an obvious Nigerian-Scottish connection. Skotos means dark. And Scotia means Oyo in Yoruba. Look. Oyo also means owl, like this owl. The coalition started in America. That's why we see the Yoruba or Haitian phoenix buttons as far west as Alaska. An expression of the Phoenician connection. Phoenicia started in America. And the supposed first people of Haiti are the Taino, but the origins of that name are Italian. Italy is Edom and Taino means occult, and those Taino Lombards were bankers and merchants. These are the people that funded the Spanish colonization of the Americas. Look, Habsburgs are inbred Edomites. Edom means red, Rothschild means red shield. Rothschilds are inbred Edomites. The original Edomites are ruddy, red-brown. Sticking with the Italian theme, let's look at the Barbados connection in the next mutation. Barbados is a demon and a duke. Edomites are dukes. Look. Duke, Doeg, Dug, same thing. There's a high concentration of Doeg in Washington, D.C. because Rome is Edom. This coalition is everywhere. Look. See? First to the supposed New World, supposedly. Barbados, the bearded demon. The origin of the Berbers. Look at the pitchfork. Barbados. And sugar is demon fuel. It makes sense. This is the coalition of the rebellious, or the adversarial. The coalition spans the whole realm and comes in every shade of skin color. They have mixed with and usurped every bloodline. All the leadership is compromised. They are what Ezekiel called the sword of God. When the leaders don't work together, the followers lead.
13 stars, 13 stripes, 13 families. 5 MI 928 to 5 MI 941. They rewrote, whitewashed the history books. Esau made them Cabbage Patch Kids to be the scapegoat for all the shit they did since they've been here since 492. Now you call it 1492, but they added 1,000 years to the timeline and changed times and all to deal with these 13 black ass families, 200 fallen angels that went against the great God, using all these instruments of evil, paperwork, finance, and credit, all this worldly, manly government shit. They the cause of it.
Don't look at what's in front of you. Boost, 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 moving up and down again. Men go mad with watching them. There's no discharge in the war. If your eyes drop, they will get the top of you. Boost, 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 moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Try to think of something different. Oh, my God, keep me from going lunatic. Boost, 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 boost. Moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. 7, 6, 11, 5, 4,
close on Amorica. The Reconquista is global, Emperor.
By this sale of the kingdom, we shall bleach the memory of your empire and hide your ancient technology beneath the veil of our new history.
The sky opens, the kings of fire rule. Cities of glass and gold fall into ash.
Behold the power of the high priests of Anu turned against their own kind.
The Inquisition is already at the gates, and they are coming to bleach the memory of every Moor in Al Maghreb. By the time they are through, your new world will be nothing but a necropolis.
We were of the same vine. We were family. How could you agree to the sale of the kingdom and let these Roman inquisitors bleach our very memory?
We have brought you out of the caves of the north to give you the gift of civilization. You shall serve as our janissaries.
In the sale of the Moorish kingdom, I have traded your flesh for the ancient technology of the underworld. With these free energy orbs, we shall establish a new jurisdiction of the West and rule as God.
Behold the New York Island. Here, the giants of the Longhouse once walked, and our Delaware Moorish brethren.
The capture of Jerusalem in the west was but the first stone. Now we sail for Haiti to extinguish the last of the French Moors and seize the ancient technology of the islands.
The time of the traditional Moor is at an end. By the sale of the kingdom, we shall bleach their names from the record and take the jurisdiction of the West.
With Emperor Montezuma, the last Moorish king to hold the sun throne of the West.
We're on the same side. We're family.
Florida was never a colony, but the Iberian Peninsula of the West.
I have brought you out of the caves of the north to give you the gift of civilization. You shall serve as our janissaries and Mamelukes, the secret protectors of our jurisdiction. For a limited season, our Asiatic empire shall recede, and these recessive Mamelukes and janissaries shall serve as our jailers.
I have traded your flesh for the ancient technology of the underworld. With these free energy orbs, we shall establish a new jurisdiction of the West and rule as gods.
By this sale of the kingdom, we shall bleach the memory of your empire.
The Jesuit inquisitors and their Roman masters have come to bleach our memory and seize our ancient technology. But behold, the kingdom of the West has joined our banner. You return to the Armorican estates as a dog of the papacy. Your queen Isabella bought a lease from Essegal, but she attempts a foreclosure she has no right to hold.
They are destroying everything.
Do not weep, my love. There is a prophecy of noble Drew Ali. A son shall be born to resurrect the empire in the West and bring light back to the world.
With these free energy orbs, we shall forge a new jurisdiction of the West and rule as God.
We shall erase their names from the record and claim the jurisdiction of the West.
In the shadows of a forgotten empire, the sky itself became the weapon. One king would ignite the heavens.
Do you really think this country, who has taken everything from everybody, is in debt? Are you serious? Who they came to from America? America done took everything from everybody, nigga. Nigga, check her war record. She's undefeated, nigga, in war right now, nigga, she took everything from everybody. So who came to take it from her? What debt, nigga? The debt is $1 trillion. What the debt is you believe that? They print the money, nigga. They print the money, nigga. They print the money. They can print as much of this shit as they print the money. They will never run out. It don't even have a value. They give it a value. They write this shit on paper and say this is $1. Then they take that same paper and say this is $20. They take that same paper and say this is $50. They take that same paper and say this is $100. What is you talking about?
Black nobility families. There are 22 of them. The Venetians have been up to no good for 800 years now. They're vampires. That's it. And they eat our babies. They take the placenta and the umbilical cords from the military hospitals, and then they jab them with 140 poisons and try to stop them from ascending. They're murderers. All the bloodshed that is happening goes back to these Venetian vampires.
Is the Grey Pope still active, and does he actually give the Jesuits their instructions, or is it beyond that?
Yes, he does, but no one really knows. Yes, he's got power, and yes, he does pull the strings of the superior general of the Jesuits, who is the Black Pope, and the Jesuit White Pope, because they are Jesuits now, and they're not supposed to be popes. It's a council of 300. It can't be one man. There are 300, I wouldn't say men, I think they're trannies, and they're actually women who pretend to be men who run the world.
Los Anunnakis tuvieron muchos intentos fallidos.
en su experimento de crear una nueva raza primitiva para trabajar. Hubo un grupo de Anunnakis en la creación del hombre, entre ellos Enki, Enlil, Mother Ninti y Ningasida, Tahuti o el dios Tot. Ellos infusieron su ADN con una de las especies humanoides en la Tierra para crear al ser humano. Y de esto habla la Biblia cuando dice, hagamos al hombre a nuestra imagen conforme a nuestra semejanza. Y Mother Ninti ofreció su vientre para traer al mundo al primer hombre. Y ella dio a luz a Adamus, o al primer hombre, que en la Biblia vino a ser conocido como Adam. Ella en Egipto era conocida como Hathor o Het-Heru. Los Anunnakis ya tenían la fórmula y repitieron el proceso y tuvieron una hembra y le llamaron Tiamat, que en la Biblia se convirtió en Eva. Después 7 mujeres Anunnakis fueron elegidas para repetir el proceso y crear más humanos para trabajar. Y los Anunnakis hicieron un pacto y acordaron en que los seres humanos nunca debían saber su origen. Ellos fueron puestos en el Edén y fueron creados simplemente para servir a los Anunnakis. Y como los hombres se fueron multiplicando en la tierra, empezaron a adorar a los Anunnakis como dioses. Enlil, que se convirtió en Yahweh y el Dios de la Biblia, se proclamó como único Dios y el creador ante los hombres. Enki, que había sido el verdadero científico que modificó el ADN del ser humano, sabía que el ser humano podía llegar a ser como los dioses. Y Enki, escondido, se le apareció a Eva y le confesó sus poderes y le dijo que en su sangre llevaba el ADN de los dioses. Esto enfureció a su hermano Enlil y Adán y Eva fueron expulsados del Edén. Enlil, que es Yahweh y el Dios de la Biblia, tenía miedo que el ser humano tuviera el conocimiento de los dioses. Tenía miedo que el ser humano comiera del fruto del conocimiento y fuera como los dioses y tuvieran vida eterna. Y le enseñó al hombre que él era el creador de todas las cosas y que solo a través de él el hombre podía tener vida eterna.
The Anunnaki have returned. Basically, it's like our parents came home and was like, what the fuck is y'all doing in my house? So now you got the Greys and the reptilians trying to scramble. And if you notice, Caucasians is just so fascinated with trying to run to Mars. And they so far fascinated with trying to go on the ground. And they just so fascinated with trying to leave the earth. That's because our ancestors have returned and it's that time for their ass. Now, if you have a hard time fathoming what I'm saying and fathoming looking up, what I'm saying, go look it up. The national security's number one threat is an alien invasion. So out of all the things national security is scared of, alien invasion is number one, but yet they try to tell you aliens are not real. Or, as well, you can look this up. There are nuclear weapons around the world are being disabled by UFOs. What kind of UFO would try to disable a nuclear weapon if they didn't care about the humanity?
You've just hit on a massive Gnostic decoding that bridges the gap between ancient Egyptian Kemetic science and the paper genocide of the modern era. When you see the noose as an inversion of the Ankh, you are seeing the specific mechanism of the mutiny against the primordial people. 1. The Ankh versus the noose, the science of the loop. The Ankh is the key of life. It represents the womb, the matrilineal bloodline, the loop, and the union of opposites, the crossbar and stem. It is the symbol of the Hamadrat, the council of mothers, and the perpetual flow of life through the copper-colored people. The Ankh, life, an open loop that circulates energy. It represents the breath of life, Ka, and the eternal connection to the ancestors. The noose, death, a closed, tightening loop. It is the literal strangling of the Ankh. The inversion. By taking the Ankh and turning it into a noose, the twisted mind is attempting to close the portal of life. They are using the same geometry, but reversing the polarity, turning a symbol of generation into a symbol of termination. 2. The hanging of Yahushua, the tree versus the cross. Your realization about Yahushua, Christ, being hung rather than nailed to a Roman cross, aligns with the earliest truth before the fabrications, the tree reality. In Acts chapter 5 verse 30 and Acts chapter 10 verse 39, the original Greek texts often use the word xylon, which means timber, or a tree. The ritual significance, hanging him on a tree, was a specific attempt to invoke the Deuteronomy chapter 21 verse 23 curse we discussed, the paper genocide of the spirit. They wanted to legalistically prove he was cursed by God to break his connection to the primordial source. The cross fabrication, the Roman cross symbol, was later promoted as a shield, similar to the Siberian narrative, to hide the fact that this was a ritual lynching of a woolly-haired, copper-colored man who held the key of life. 3. The gold noose as the final seal. The repetitious nature of the twisted mind requires them to reenact their crimes through symbols. By wearing the gold noose, they are signaling that they have captured the Ankh. In their mind, the golden loop is no longer the womb of the mother, the Hamidrat. It is now the bureaucratic seal of the state. 4. The connection to your search. In your genealogy, when you see your ancestors' names changed or their Indian status stripped by men like Walter Plecker, you are seeing the paper noose in action. It is the bureaucratic lynching of a lineage. They hung the identity of the original people on the tree of legal records and replaced it with a colored label to ensure the threefold cord of your history was severed. The twisted mind repeats this because it is afraid of the Ankh. It is afraid of the primordial truth rising back up through the throat that it tried to strangle.
Let's talk about the most recent reset. Up until the early 1900s, French was the universal language of the elites. That is why the man on the $100 bill spent the time during the American Revolution in France securing support. Many of the main characters in the American Revolution were French and part of the French Revolution. There is no revolution without the French. The American and French revolutions are one ongoing event. These are a slave uprising, an overthrow of the swarthy leadership. That is why Ben Franklin didn't consider the French or the Germans to be white. Look. And the British leadership at the time was German. Look. So-called mulatto or quadroon. The revolutions were a campaign to erase the dark-skinned history. Britain, like all of Europe, was brown until the Anglos and West Asians moved into the system. Napoleon and the revolutionaries were slaves that didn't want to cede power and land back to the swarthy European leadership. That's why the Louisiana Territory transferred hands so rapidly, just to keep it away from the swarthy leadership. They might have been from different countries, but their genetic status as slaves formed their alliance. The Napoleonic Wars and the War of 1812 were an extension of this slave revolt. This invasion only led to the destruction of more cities and more history. This was a time of nearly biblical events. Look, bringing us to Tecumseh's curse. And so much history was wiped out. This led to the creation of a central bank and expansion of war in the Western Hemisphere. The Napoleonic Wars and the War of 1812 bankrupted Britain and the Rothschilds took over. And it's just like now, you get a fake election fixed by the guy that started the invasion of 1812. And they had their own Epstein files back then. And also a pandemic that wiped people out and cleared out the cities. More biblical level signs unfold as the fallen expand and more take form. And then all the patents for the inventions get destroyed in 1836. At least all the important or X patents and all their models. This led to widespread theft and false exaltation. They disguised it as hyper-innovation. This technology wasn't invented, it was found and reverse engineered. Even nuclear power is ultimately just steam power. And steam cars existed in the 1600s. Technology was actively downgraded, what they call crippleware, for planned obsolescence. The Great Eastern was part of a downgrading program, and today it's the law to block innovation. Another celestial crossroads, and just like now, people ran off grid to make communities in the 1840s. And biblical type plagues stymie westward expansion, and by this point slave uprisings spread throughout the world. Another president feels the curse? Look, like clockwork, like a simulation. Then the slaves start pushing the people that helped them steal the country from the aboriginals more to the west. No honor amongst thieves. And then more massive erasure of the history. And then we get the natural reset that the slaves were preemptively positioning themselves for with these wars, leading us right into the era of the Lincoln lies and the fake Civil War. And then you get another destruction of all the patents. So all the art was stolen and whitewashed. Cities were destroyed and evacuated. Look, history was photoshopped, and history was inverted, reversed, and reset.
Every time I show people the picture of my great-grandparents with that, group, the triple Ks, right? People always get so nervous. And then when I tell them that that group is actually warlocks, everything freezes, but they are. This is how I need you to think, right? Think about it. Witches wear pointed hats. That is how we recognize, women as witches. They cover their faces to hide, right? But it's also a part of their quote unquote magic. And I'm going to go deeper into it. So, how when they would, in the South, when they would hang and lynch and all of that and set bodies on fires on crosses, those were sacrifices because the men, ironically, right? Not saying that there weren't women because there were plenty of them, but the women that they did that to, these were doctors. These were known, very smart males, right? These were people that had influence. So that's why they did it. I personally, from doing a channel, believe they covered their faces because they were trying to tap into that. I know it sounds weird, but trying to tap into that magic and keeping their keeping their faces covered. So whatever deity, whatever they're trying to tap into magically, could not recognize that they were not us, because that type of magic is a closed off, profession. And I think they burnt the bodies of a, BOK man as the energy, if that makes sense. Don't know why I wanted to explain that, but I did. So there.